All right.
Yep,
Uh,
you guys sound good.
Start. Cool. Thank you, Omega. Couple minutes till we start. We'll just let everybody come in. The We'll do the usual format, no longer than an hour. Team's gonna go through 15 to 20 minutes of kind of what they've been up to. Then we're gonna have a roughly a 35-minute Q&A section, and then a 5-minute wrap up. You might notice we're experimenting a little bit with formats just to see what everybody likes. But if you want to, please in the chat just leave some suggestions which you'd like to see, and then we can try that. Big turns. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Looks like he's on mute.
I was muted. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Loud and clear.
Lovely, lovely.
Yep. Old Man Crypto says he likes this format. Definitely not Vino. This is the way. So hopefully everybody's having a good day. If you're having a good day, put 1. If it could be better, put a 2.
We got a 3 ball. Be great. Not sure what that is.
Okay. We all have a few different names around here. So I am actually Bull, Be Great. And everybody else has got a couple different, their real name and their avatar name. So, all right, -1. That must be Master Chef. Must be having an amazing day if he's -1. He's moving towards a perfect day. Very
Hopefully,
good.
not too many people got caught in any type of leverage in the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
With a
yeah,
little
exactly. What's that?
We're discussing the dip, are we?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I did read an article, and I read a lot of the news articles, and I would always encourage that just to kind of keep an awareness of current events in crypto. Just helps kind of build your overall knowledge base, and just so you're not kind of punching around in the dark. But I did see somebody on a meme token turn $251 into over $1 million. They haven't cashed out yet, though.
That was the Pepe one, wasn't it?
That you're correct.
And I think their account was suspended as well on Twitter recently. So it's following the typical life cycle of a meme coin.
Yeah. And there was another person buying 25 ETH worth of Pepe at a time too, which is just insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, crypto's that magical kind of crazy place where anything can happen. I think I know that's what drew a lot of us over here to L1X is the tech, the people. A lot of us are obviously very familiar with one another, so we kind of travel in groups or herds. And I speak for myself, and I feel very fortunate to be here. Kind of in the presence of a lot of just really good people, really dedicated to creating the best chain, the best experience in crypto. And not to compete with other people, but to unite to make crypto a better place to onboard your grandma, your grandpa, your dad, all those people, those crypto naysayers. So with that being said, we're going to start Live X season 1 episode 5. Welcome to everybody here in the audience, team members included, the team that's up on stage. I hope everybody's doing well, so let's kick it off. Looks like Chief is ready to go. His screen is pulsing. Chief, what have you been up to, buddy?
Matt, I'm trying to find some time at the moment to do all the various things that we need to do. We're Spark and I are heading off on a little bit of an overseas jaunt to go to Consensus next week. which is in Austin, in Texas. For those that don't know, I'm sure, Bull, but we're looking forward to that event because we've already set up a number of meetings with some very large brands over there that want to talk to us. We're on the phone last night late again with one of those brands over there, and they're excited to talk with us, and that's in the gaming area. And no, I'm not going to talk about names of those just yet because we've got nothing in writing just yet, but they're pretty excited about the capabilities. When we get on calls like that and we start talking about the capabilities, they go, really? Wow. This is the sort of response we're getting from some of these, some of the largest brands in the world. So it's pretty exciting for us, but also becomes very exciting for them and the market in general.
Yeah, speaking of marketing, I see that Tempo is in here, and I know she's on a pretty big call right now, speaking with one of the largest influencers in this space. And one of the questions I know that really stuck out to me is that there's always a lot of tech talk here at L1X, but maybe Chief Spark, you guys could go into a little bit of that, behind the scenes, how you actually connect with somebody. And I know this might not necessarily be tech talk or crypto talk, but it is really relative on how you form that human network that helps you build the technical network here. So maybe you can just highlight that a little bit, like how you get in contact with people and, kind of their that first impression they have of Layer 1X.
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
Be great. Thank you. Welcome everybody. It's great to have everyone on the call today. Again, everyone in the community. So in terms of when we're talking to people, when we're reaching out, we are there's probably two avenues that we're seeing at the moment, and one of them getting bigger and bigger. So initially, when we started off, it was very much us going out and talking to as many people as we can. We always take the view that every conversation is a conversation to raise awareness around Layer 1X. So whether or not that particular conversation comes out with we're working together or we're not working together, we always take the approach of whether we're going to work together with this person or not, we feel that they need to know about Layer 1X. And then the more people that do know about Layer 1X, obviously, the more awareness that is raised. But what we're seeing more of now is of publications and influencers coming to us so we've got a couple of big publications that would like to do a deep dive into us. We're giving them information right now, because I suppose the initial response is how. We get that a lot. So when we talk about interoperability, we talk about scalability. It's wow, how are you guys doing that? So I think the initial response is one of I don't want to say disbelief, but it's one of curiosity from the other side talking to us, because I think that what they want to know is that, wow, that's a big claim. How are you doing it? Once they hear how we're doing it, then they're like, okay, wow, we need to know more about this and do a deep dive. But that's what we're finding with publications. We're now getting some really good traction in terms of doors that are opening for us. And it does take time. Once we're knocking on as many doors as possible, once the word spreads, then more doors are opening for us as well. So yeah, just to kind of give an overview of where we're at in terms of the marketing side of it, where I think we talked about this on the last call, we've upstaffed dramatically and we'll continue to do that. We now have two major publications that are doing a deep dive on us, and we'll release more information about, or Tempo will release more information about that as we get closer to them completing that. But we've also now we'll be visiting US, Singapore, Thailand, Dubai, and maybe one other destination. We're just waiting for confirmation. But we're also meeting with some pretty large media organizations on the travels as well. So we're talking to VCs, family offices, investors around the public sale, and we'll have more information coming out pretty soon around the public sale when that will begin. And we're also taking the time on this trip to catch up with a few influential marketing agencies and influencers as well.
Chief, who's doing the packing for you?
Good question, mate. It's called a suitcase, and at the moment I'm throwing things into it. We're obviously going to cover a number of places around the world, so that what that means is that we've got to dress for the occasion. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to get out there and start talking to these people. But as Spark said, you know, it's really important that we build those connections, because every one of those connections actually leads on to the next, and then the next, and then you get on the calls. And you know, is it disbelief? Well, it's more incredulity. It's they're just blown away by the potential of what we've got, and where we're going with it, and the use cases. It's just so broad, and when we take that into account, we've got to make those decisions about what do we go with for launch, which is why we're focusing really around the DEX and the DeFi side. We've got a pretty big focus around the gaming, and that's moving forward pretty fast. You know, just over the last couple of weeks, that's really started to take hold. And then obviously we've got HealthLink, and that HealthLink just really showcases the breadth of capability that's coming from L1X. And I've been working through a number of things like you know, the pitch deck, etc. And we presented some of that to the team, and hopefully you guys will start seeing some of that coming out over the next week, and start seeing where those use cases come in.
I can speak to that a little bit. I know that was an awful long call last night with a lot of information that got dropped, and I think everybody is in the community is going to be really pleased with the rollout plan of that information and how you're going to be able to absorb it. And because I know this is an incredibly big, hard to explain, I think, project with a lot of moving pieces, but there's a really well developed plan here in the background to actually put all this out in a really nice, easy to digest package where you can hand it off to your friends. And I think once that comes out, there's going to be a lot of light bulbs that kind of come on here, and people are going to be like, oh shit, like, okay, I get it now. I get why these people are so excited. I get why the people in the channel that are really enthusiastic are, putting 100 messages in a day. But I know for me, it's everything in crypto is that kind of that learning, that work in progress. But you find these projects where, you know, the more you look into it, the more you're like, oh, okay, wow, okay, that just kind of blew my mind. And I don't know, like, how many of those mind blown moments like the team down there in Perth have had, but you know, from what I've kind of got just a soft score sheet here, I've heard Chief and Machu say that about 10 different times. So I haven't. I'm not lucky enough to be down in Perth, but I know one of the new guys, Big Turns, has been down there. And how many times you have had your mind blown since you've come on board here, Big Turns?
Well, I had the privilege of having my mind broken the other day by Kevin, running me through the tech. It was actually super impressive. Like, once I come to understand it, and sort of work through it on with things like analogies, it really makes a lot of sense. And you can start to see, like, wow, like, this is going to change up a lot of big things, especially considering, you know, I've been in this game for a long time. I've seen the pain points in crypto, and I know that people have been itching for solutions like this. And so being able to see, like, we have a product that's already built. So usually people start with the concept, they market it, and then they build it in the crypto space. We have done everything in the reverse, and now we're finally going to market with it. So it's super exciting, especially as, you know, as someone that's always worked sort of in the marketing side of things. Usually you're having to market something that doesn't exist yet, but it's so much better having a product that you can see, use, and explain to our community how all the functions work. It's so much easier. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I would have to say, every day it's just like another nugget of information is gathered. So yeah.
Like, be great. happy to share like what we can do on the call today. Is happy to share probably the big five that we talked about yesterday, and maybe go into a little bit more detail on one of them, just to kind of
That sounds
update
awesome,
the
man.
community. Yeah. So in terms of when we look at Layer 1X, and what we're wanting to do is really kind of condense it into what are the unique capabilities of Layer 1X. Now, I think everyone who's been there here for a certain amount of time understands that we can deliver on interoperability, scalability, security, and decentralization. But how does that materialize? What's the next step? What does that deliver for users, developers, enterprises? So the big five that we'll be talking about a lot on our trip and moving forward capabilities are these, and I think we'll go into to one of them in detail. We'll get Kevin to talk about one of them in detail. But the big five that we have, the first one is the tokenization of securities and the unique things we can do around the tokenization of securities. That one we'll talk about a bit more in depth today. The other four is so the second one is universal decentralized identity, UDI, meaning the ability we have to connect to any chain actually creates the very first opportunity for a universal decentralized identity, and that has use case across many different fields. The third one is what we're coining is X-Talk. X-Talk meaning cross-chain talk, and that's referring to the ability for smart contracts to talk to each other, exchange logic, open dialogue. That's the third big feature. So tokenization of securities is first, and what we can do around that uniquely. The second one is universal decentralized identity. The third big thing is X-Talk, which is that exchange across chains. The fourth is Web3 as a service, allowing projects to build directly on the blockchain, and all of these are a game changer, and this one is a massive game changer. The fifth one is actually being able to provide scalable enterprise applications. So when you're talking about big businesses, big brands, organizations, what we can deliver to them that no other chain can is quite unique in allowing them to actually adopt and either dip a toe into Web3 or dive in. So what we can provide to enterprises is fairly unique as well. So just to recover on the big five, and we'll go in today and talk a little bit more about the first one, but the big five are this: tokenization of securities. The second one is universal decentralized identity. The third is X-Talk. The fourth is Web3 as a service. And the fifth one being scalable enterprise applications. So I might get Merkel to talk a little bit about the tokenization of securities and the unique factors that we bring to that particular feature capability.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Spark. So I've been pretty busy with the development team, and yesterday I had the opportunity to discuss with the operational and the marketing team on this big five. And I think one of the core reasons that we are calling it the big five is because these features and the area of focus for these features will demonstrate the unique capabilities of the technology that other layer ones cannot do. So diving a little bit in the tokenization of securities, there are 2 to 3 pointers that make it unique. So for example, one of the feature in the tokenization of securities is tokenize once and use at multiple chains. I think this is going to play a big role in getting assets on board at Layer 1X and using it at various places. So for example, you could have an NFT that's minted on L1X, and use it on the Binance Smart Chain in the game. So you don't have to mint it again. And the Binance Smart Chain will be able to recognize that this user has the NFT. But at the same time, if the user decides to sell the NFT on OpenSea Ethereum Marketplace, the user can do that. And the beauty of that is if the user does decide to sell on the OpenSea Ethereum Marketplace, the L1X chain and the Binance Smart Chain in a single transaction will understand that the user does not have this asset anymore, and it will take it down. So for the users, it's pretty good because there is a single point where they can control the asset. And at the same time, it also applies to digital identity, where you could have your identity on the L1X chain. So one of the smart contract that we are building, in parallel to a token or a fungible token, non-fungible token smart contract, is an identity contract where you could have your identity, and other chains would be able to understand the details in that identity, and you could use that as an identifier. So, for example, if an insurance company wants to get some details of you, and you don't want to provide them all the details, they could tap into the L1X network, look at your identity based on the permissions you have given them. So that's controlling the access of the tokenized data as well from the L1X wallet. So I think allowing controlling of the accessing of the tokenized data from a single place provides ease of use to the user as well. And at the same time, developers, I'm pretty excited actually, the Indian hackathon that we've got with 250 developers to demonstrate this. So the other chains would be able to send a request and identify the user as well. And fractionalizing, and co-owning of the tokenized assets as well. So, for example, if my wife and I don't get along, not if, yeah, we don't get along, and if we wanted to co-own a certain asset with certain permissions, that can be done there. Or let's say, you have in the future, if we do have a debit or
So
a
wait
credit
a second.
card.
Hang on one second, Kevin. So you're saying that you'll have your token Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and your wife will have it the other 4 days of the week?
Oh, if you want to design it that way, you can definitely do that. But I
Perfect.
don't recommend it, because what if she takes it out on Tuesday, all of them? So you kind of want to have a rate limiter set over there. But you can fractionalize it. So for example, if you've got a debit card or a credit card, and you want to build, I mean, in the future, if we do have something like that on L1X, you would be able to allow access up to a certain limit to a third party as well. So let's say your kid is going to an event and he maxes out his wallet balance, and he wants to tap into your wallet balance now. So you could give a permission there and also access where this amount is being spent. So fractionalization does not only mean co-owning the assets, like physical assets on the blockchain, but it also means fractionalizing what you have and giving it to another person in an access control mechanism. But at the end of the day, what I love about this is maintaining the data integrity, because the user is in ultimate control of all the data that the user has. And at the same time, the user decides access control mechanisms. And we have also noted that there will be certain people that don't understand what access control should I give or should I not. So there will be apps building on it that can leverage that and make it easier for the user to understand as well. Something like WordPress.com, you can build a website quickly, you can drag and drop. So something like that could be built on this tokenization module that makes it easier for the users to use it across all the dApps built on L1X.
So it's really a smart contract, not I know that you've talked about the transfer of logic, and I am just kind of making a tongue-in-cheek joke here, because we understand that EVM functions with smart contracts, but how smart are they actually if they can't transfer logic?
Yeah, I think the smart word is being used to differentiate itself from decentralization and automating that component of it. But I think more importantly, what we are building over here, for example, even the tokenization of securities, and in the follow-up Discord calls that we've got, you'll understand how this all comes together. Like, for example, why does Xtalk need a virtual machine, for example, right? All this will make sense in the coming Discord talk as well. And it's all centered around the user, right? We don't, so, you can build a software and then try to fit it into the user. But our focus is take the user first and then build around the user for the Web3 experience.
And
I'll
I
just
think
add
that
to that as well. The another benefit to tokenization of securities on L1X is the access to liquidity. So securities, could be anything. It could be equity in a company. It could be a real estate. It could be so many things. But the fact that we have access currently to more than 80% of the TVL is that tokenizing a security and then having it on L1X, where anyone across any of the chains we're connected to can easily purchase that security. I think is also a worthy feature that we deliver for those who want to tokenize securities with L1X.
Thanks, Spark. I did want to ask one or read a question here from Old Man Crypto, because there was that talk of Chief and Spark going on the L1X World Tour. Will Kevin be in Austin at Consensus with you two? And if not, where will he be, and what will you be up to, Kevin?
I'd love to come to Austin, but I've got some deadlines that we've got to meet. So I'll be in Dubai, Singapore, and the follow-up places, but I'll be working on the demonstration. So this tokenization thing that we are talking about, I want to get it done by the time I go to India to demonstrate it to the developers. So for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm locked in my office, as Super Beans or has mentioned. But yeah, I'll be locked in the office and coding so that we can get this done.
Well, I know we're gonna all appreciate that, because to bring this to life, I think there has to be, kind of all hands on deck, kind of at all times. And I think a lot of us are really anticipating the launch. So all the work that everybody puts in, the people that have shown up to this in the community, we appreciate everything, because it is really, it's a big source of inspiration to see the questions come in from people, tickets that get raised, to show that people really care. And that we know that there's a lot of people that have the back of L1X. And as we work towards launch and building out the marketing, it's always great to have support. So Omega, do you see any questions in the LiveX that need to be answered right now, or the team could answer?
Yeah, great segue. I know that Chief and Spark already kind of answered one of the questions that was posted. And for everybody out there, if you have questions after the AMA that are not answered, just put them in the LiveX questions channel, and we'll do our best to get it answered on the next AMA. So Emperor 983 had the question about socials and generating awareness of L1X, and kind of mirroring or just going off the success that Arbitrum had, getting it out there, saying that, yes, of course, L1X has great utility, but getting out there with the social so that bigger influencers are aware of what we're doing here. And I think you already said Tempo has a meeting lined up with a very, very big influencer that I think 90% or more of the people here would know. So that's extremely exciting, and looking forward to hear more about that. So yeah, I think it's kind of like what you were saying, Chief and Spark. It's little dribs at a time. It's like that freight train that leaves the station. When it first starts, it doesn't look like it's moving that much, but once it gets going, and it's really an exponential snowball effect. And I think that's kind of where we are now with the project. So that's great to see. So hopefully we answered Emperor's question there. As far as, we have a couple people kind of similar questions about wallets. We know that L1X is developing an interoperable wallet, but a couple people are curious about other wallets like Elliptal. Ellipal, is that how you say it?
Yeah, Eliopal. Yeah.
Eliopal, thank you. Sorry about that. Eliopal, and also SafePal. So in general, how will other wallets be used within the L1X system?
Yeah, I can take that. So definitely, I mean, if I think two things to this. One is, if you talk about the existing wallet infrastructure, they are built more towards either, one chain like MetaMask, or then you've got multi-chain. But when you have multi-chain, that does not mean it's a multi-chain wallet. All it does is it's connecting to various, chains out there and showing the asset in one place. That's all it's doing. But with L1X, on the other hand, um, we'll be having the wallet set up in a way which is, first of all, you'll have a decentralized identity. So that's one address. So for example, your name .l1x or something like that. And under that, you'll have multiple addresses. So those multiple addresses, it could be for the L1X chain, it could be for Solana, it could be for so many other things. But more importantly, what the wallet will do is also hold various standards. So example, your health data, your physical asset data that's on the blockchain, and you will be able to interact with these contracts from that wallet. That is not available in the existing wallets today. So, if you want to do a multi-chain contract interaction from that same wallet, you can't do that. So that's what L1X is working on. But the basic functionalities of interacting with the L1X coin will be available on certain other wallets. But we, recommend that users get used to the L1X wallet. That's where, Cody is working pretty hard on the design, and the team is working pretty hard on the MetaMask L1X wallet as well. So
I got a sneak peek of that today.
uh,
I felt very fortunate. Like it's neat to see, pull back the curtain and see what's behind there every now and again.
I hope
think
that's
we
just
have
for the
That
wallet.
as well. I think MetaMask is probably a perfect example of maybe the current limitations in the market. So MetaMask is an EVM compatible wallet. So let's say if I wanted to send or I wanted to view my assets on Ethereum and Solana, I would have to then go into my MetaMask, view my assets on Ethereum, and then open up maybe my Phantom wallet, which is connected to Solana, and then view my assets there. Because Ethereum is an EVM chain, and obviously Solana is not. With the L1X wallet, because we're connected to Ethereum and Solana, you'll be able to see that through one interface. And I just did notice there was a question there around hard wallets. Yes, we are talking to hard wallet providers as well to have a hard wallet option for the wallet as well.
Yeah, that would be the holy grail, wouldn't it? Have a fully interoperable wallet with a hardware integration.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it. Hyder asks, and please correct me if I misspeak on the question here. This question was actually for Big Turns. Big Turns, can you please ask about the IDO launch pad, as they play a very important role? Please ask them to have IDO only on tier 1 launch pads. So I don't know, Hyder, are you asking if L1X is going to be launched on tier 1 launch pads, or are launch pads going to be on L1X? How do you guys read that?
Answer that a little bit. So I think I know where they're coming from. So we are Launchpads is an option for us in terms of the public sale, and we're considering the Launchpad strategy for maybe a piece of the public sale. We've got a strategy with multiple different sources that we can raise capital through. So Launchpads may be an option to be able to raise them through. We've got some pretty solid sources at the moment, but we are considering maybe in a later stage of the public sale to maybe then introduce a Launchpad, but we're still considering whether that's needed or not.
Has the team set a date for what they're thinking for the public launch?
Yes. So we'll be releasing that very soon in terms of the dates, the details, all the sort of things that people want to know to be able to take part in it. What I can tell you now is that there will be, let's just say this: the earlier the better. If you're looking to get into the public sale, there is incentive there to get in early.
Sounds exciting. Omega, what do you got for the next question, buddy?
Yep, we have one more question in there. It's from Danbox. He has a question about going off Project Cardano ADA that we're familiar with. They're very community centric, where the community has a lot of input on the direction and evolution of the project. And he's just wondering if there will be opportunity or any discussions where the community involvement will help the evolution of L1X and kind of shape its direction.
I'll jump on that one. Yeah, absolutely. If our listeners and anybody that's listening to this after the event, if you've got any particular ideas or projects, then raise a ticket in Discord to bring our awareness to it. I think it's really important that if you guys come across something that we've not seen, it's entirely possible. Then please share it with us, and we'll talk further.
And also, it's probably a good opportunity. Maybe it'd be great to talk about that expert program. If no one, if there's people that are unaware of it, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some people are aware of it, but if you're not, the expert program is a program that we're retooling right now to make it a little more simple, a little bit more interactive to use. And what it is you would join the program. You're going to be rewarded in L1X public sale tokens for completing tasks. The tasks are simple things like share, subscribing, and doing that a certain amount of times per day during the month, and or like making unique content. But the goal really here is to create a loyal base, like everybody here listening, right? If you're here, thank you. And that's really what the expert program is about. It's to really evangelize and tell people about L1X, where we're going to be rolling out this information so that we all understand this project in a greater capacity. And when we understand things, it's a lot easier for us to retell those stories. But part of the expert program will also be about rewarding people that make unique content. That's videos, that's Medium articles, etc. But like I said, we are retooling that. But it is going to be a really unique experience to be part of that. And so we'll have some details pretty soon about that, so that everybody that is interested can sign up. And if you're in it right now, like I said, we're just retooling, and then we should have something up fairly soon. Big Turns, could I ask a question? You said something, that really, kind of stuck out to me, was that a lot of times when you're, like building an NFT, you're selling a product that doesn't exist, versus now here you're coming at it from a different angle, and you're promoting a product that exists. And maybe you can speak to that and how your experience, and maybe give a little bit of your background too, to just highlight where you came from, and give yourself a pat on the back for making it over here to L1X.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting situation to be in, because like I said, obviously, usually it starts with an idea, and then we dive straight into the marketing. Here, we obviously have the product ready to go. It's very close to being a fully complete product. Well, I think Kev could probably even speak to it, but the unique thing about this is usually a project or a community will experience quite a significant lull between the marketing, the initial marketing for the capital raise, and then the actual product being built, and that can be quite a grueling process. Where here, you know, we have a lot of things that you can look forward to between, you know, the actual launch and our sort of vision for L1X in the future. So, you know, it's going to be quite active on all fronts, not just the community front. So it's for those that have been in the game for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where L1X really has everything ready to go for it.
Thanks, Big Turns. You know, I'm just going to highlight something that Kevin had told us, Merkelrud had told us last night, was that when we ask a question, and this is going to highlight, like, I think a really important topic is that how people communicate and how, you know, problems can be solved, and that's what L1X is all about. But, you know, Kevin had mentioned that when we ask a question, we should put down what we know or what we feel to be the answer. And something I really liked about that is that because the world is really subjective, we see things different. We see the same, you know, issue from different ways, but it might be hard to explain to somebody if you don't understand what they know. And so I like looking at it from that perspective, because it you know, it challenges you to, you know, have to dig into what the question was and not have somebody just spoon feed you the answer. And one of the great things here about crypto and L1X is that we can take all of this time to learn. Where you said, you know, Big Turns, where communities always go through these periods of lulls, right? And not LULZs, but just, you know, a kind of a slow
That's
period.
a different time. Yeah.
That's a different type, right? But it does. We do go through, you know, slower periods or bear markets. And, you know, like, I like to point out to people that these are great opportunities to learn. But, you know, like any time in your life, if that investment that you take and to make in yourself is, you know, is going to pay you dividends for the rest of your life. And that's that great, you know, response that Kevin gave to the whole team last night, was that, you know, when you ask a question, write what you know about it, so that when somebody else formulates, you know, their response, it is in response to what you actually know. And I would encourage everybody to maybe look at that question and then challenge yourself to, you know, and I'm not telling anybody don't ask questions. Please ask questions, but, you know, do the research, you know, scroll up and see if questions have been asked before. And if people are just giving you answers, I think it's an easy way to be, you know, misinformed about something. But if you take the time to go to the card catalog, go to the shelf, pull that book down and look at it and say, oh, okay, that is the answer to that question. I think that's how we can make crypto a really good place. And that's why I really appreciated, you know, that perspective that Kevin shared with us last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just like to probably say a few things on that. So I think what we are building here is, you know, one of the hardest thing, you know, today is getting in front of people, you know, and attention, right? But L1X is not attention hungry. First of all, it was not built to be attention hungry. And the thing is, those who get it, and those who get it stay a long time, or, you know, they are the people who actually support it. And that's how even the tokenomics is designed. And I think anyone asking a question, it can be from the team, it can be, you know, the L1X community members. Um, yes, it can be a little hard to answer it yourself first. But what happens is, um, because it's such a vast topic, you know, and it's a complex technology, firstly, if you ask a question and you try to answer it yourself, the beauty is when someone answers that question to you, you know if this person is actually giving you what you want or is faking it, right? So that's something that, you know, I highly regard, which is maybe just spend, you know, 1.5 2 minutes on, you know, trying to answer it, and that will, eventually turn into a soft answer for you for your next question. So it's kind of building up that knowledge base yourself as well. And that's what I do with the developers as well, which is how do we take a developer's journey and turn it into Web3? So we are building that knowledge base for the developers. And in my development meetings, if a developer cross communicates with the other team and asks certain things, they have to answer it themselves first before the other developer can answer, so that there is a direct link in the answer that you are requesting for.
I
I'll
think
just
that really. Go ahead, Spark. Go
I'll
ahead,
just-
buddy.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Kevin's saying there, and this has been my personal experience as well. Is that, and I think Be Great, you and I have talked about this many times, right? Is that your level of education will dictate your success in this space. Whether you are a user, whether you're a developer, whether you are an investor. So investing in your education really is investing in the success on what you want to achieve in blockchain, or or crypto as an investor or a user. And I believe that there's people in the community, the people that have made that investment in terms of diving into the white paper, the light paper, going over and looking at each of the AMAs and maybe running them. I mean, just so everyone knows, I look at every AMA that Kevin does. I listen to it 5 times just to ensure that I know exactly that I haven't missed anything. And what it does, it gives you a very clear picture of the scope of what Layer 1X is going to deliver. And when you understand that scope, I think you realize the impact of what Layer 1X will have on blockchain, current users and future users. And once you realize that impact, as a user and as an investor, you realize this is a long play, because what we will deliver to the market over the coming weeks, months, and years will shape the way people use blockchain.
Yeah, I agree. I think in this conversation you can see, where L1X, the idea for it was birthed. This idea about people owning the blockchain, but you know, owning it through knowledge and understanding, engagement, being involved with, their investment. And I hear this every time, like that Kevin speaks. It's not about, how much money you have in this space. It's about how invested you are in yourself in this space that can really, determine, how your journey is. And I know, Spark, we've talked about this so much. And, when I look at, crypto in general, and this idea of education, and just so we're clear, that doesn't mean that you went to school to be a mechanic, or you went to school to become a doctor. None of that is probably going to play a role here in crypto. It's how well you're educated in this space, how well you're, controlling your emotions, how well you're building that human network here. And all of those things are like incredibly important to take the time, to invest in yourself. And just going back to that comment, that Kevin made, it's so important to understand your perspective. And when you do talk to these other people, you hear, maybe a flaw like in the way that you look at the space. And so, take a moment to reflect at the people that you see in the channel all the time, asking or answering questions and helping people, and evaluating like your role. And this isn't a call to tell people what to do, but just a call to action. Like, make sure that like you're invested in your future, by being involved in it.
Definitely. I think as well, like, considering everything as everyone's been saying as well, like I remember like the first week. Of course, I remember the first week. I haven't been here that long yet. But the first week, I joined the team. We went to a blockchain event, and I remember, I can't remember which colleague said it. I don't know if it was Spark or somebody else, but they said it's like watching, and this is watching Kevin speak. It's like watching Vitalik present Ethereum like back in the day, because people.
Kevin's got bigger biceps though.
yeah. I think that's a fair win.
I think I'm not building a product for only the guys with big money. I'm building a product for everyone. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as like, it's just that people are so used to what they know. And so trying to consider, like, for example, I remember people saying things like interoperability, like, isn't that what just bridges today do? And they don't understand the depth behind it. They don't understand the differences between the two and what we're capable of. And I think that's part of, like, and we're discussing education. Obviously, it's quite important for everyone to educate themselves as much as possible. But as far as marketing, like, how can we simplify that education too for the end user? How can we make sure that they understand those concepts with different analogies or different events within their own life that they can compare it to, because the tech does run deep, and the depth of these products really does run deep. I remember just yesterday Kevin was talking about the tech side of things, and he's like, it's like this code is like building a Ferrari. Like, there's a lot of pieces. It's not just no one can just copy and paste it, right? Yep. It's a very complex machine.
Can I just ask a question as well? Big Turn, is that your real hair?
He had his hair
before the cut.
Great set of hair. That's a good head of hair there, Big Turn.
I used to have white hair. Yeah, I went through a phase, but yeah, for a while I had white long hair, and then you guys saw me show up the other day in the office, and I trimmed it all off.
He's all business now.
Yeah, that's it. The degen's gone.
No, I don't know, man. The space really is amazing. The ability to bring people together, to unite people, and I think that's one of the things that we talk a lot about here, and but I wonder if people like realize how big that actually can be. Spark, I know you talk about it, and maybe I don't know if you talk about it so much your wife is like, oh man, would you just shut up for once about this? But that idea to move and remove, or let's just call it removing that siloed effect from all these blockchains, and how that's going to open up, like, just I personally think, like, just open up so many development doors for people, and the ability to onboard people, like, it's just going to be insane.
Yeah. I almost look at it like this, as in terms of the evolution of blockchain. It started with the technical aspect, developers, builders wanting to build on the chain and provide really kind of champion decentralization. And then we kind of came in with the more financial minded economic view of it, where people started to come in and go, okay, how do we actually build some tokenomics around this tech? And now I think we're at a stage where we're developing into, and the realization of, well, if this is going to be adopted by the masses, then we have to think of the user. And I think that's a really important thing about what Kevin said just before, is that Kevin's built on blockchain for about 5 years now. And the reason why L1X exists is because as he was building out those applications, he saw the challenges along the way to actually build something of value to the user. And these barriers of, say, interoperability, decentralization, scalability that didn't exist in the market drove him to then build a layer one that can deliver that for the user. And this is where I think, while we are not first in the market, the first was years ago, but it gives us an advantage to be able to look at what has happened so far in the market and really put the user now at the center of it and take away those pain points for the user. And look, it will be a journey, and there'll be, you know, there's so many I suppose features and capabilities that we will need to build out those user that easy usability for the user, that to make it simple, to make it intuitive. It will take our time to build that out, but always know, and this is speaking directly to the community, that the user will always be at the front of our mind.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know if people ever get mad at me when I say this, but technology is nothing without people. It's powered by people, and you need people to highlight the power of that technology, and that's why it is so important for us to remain engaged and make sure that the community trusts us, and that we give prompt answers and correct answers, and that's what we're always striving to do. And that was a big focus of discussion recently about how we can deliver those products better, and that's why challenge us to present a better product to everybody here, and that's what we want to deliver for you. It's not that's not BS. Everybody here is working extremely hard in different capacities to deliver those things to anybody that's listening, and that's anybody that's going to listen to this recording.
Yeah, and that's where the community really, there's so many ways the community can get involved with L1X, and those ways will increase in the future. And one way initially is to, spread the word, be active in terms of letting people know about us, and getting them onto our socials. But another way it will be, as we release these features and these products, it will be the feedback from the community, the advice, the feedback on what they see, what they like, what they don't, what we should incorporate. So the community has a massive role to play in not only the development of the community itself, but also the development of the project, because we will rely on the community for that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys. We have 5 minutes left. Omega, was there one last question that we could answer? If not, we can, just say our farewells to everybody here for the night. Make sure that Chief and Spark have a safe travels, and Merkelrud stays glued to his computer, coding.
Yeah,
It's one of the most impressive computer I've seen in my life. It's this, if you could, this, yeah.
I swear every day I walk past his office, he's got a new monitor. It's going to be to the ceiling soon.
I've got actually, so I've got a 55-inch curved monitor that I use for communications only. Then I've got two 49-inch stacked on top of each other. And then I've got another laptop, another iPad, two iPads, and two phones, for various things. But I think I like it that way, so that I've got a dedicated space for working on a dedicated thing.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there.
Plus,
it's also I think your brain.
Sorry,
your brain is capable of consuming like multiple screens at once. I feel like you're like thriving for you're craving more data. Give me more data.
I actually use two mouses at the same time. So if you want to go, let's say, because it's faster to use two mouses than one, so you don't have to drag all the way. So all you do is go horizontal and vertical with both the mouses to go to a place. It's a good skill to have. It's pretty.
That sounds like a challenge. I can shoot basketball with two hands. Now you've just challenged me, Kevin. I'm gonna learn how to use my mouse with both hands. And
you got to shoot virtual basketballs now.
I'm going to throw a shout out to AJ from EMP Money, because I don't know if a lot of people know his story, but he's quadriplegic, and he actually uses his mouse with his mouth. So,
wow.
Yeah. So to show
AJ,
show
AJ is an exceptional human being.
Yeah. Amazing. So, just wanted to throw a little shout out his way, and, just to show like everybody's a little bit different skill. So put a +1 in the chat if you have a better setup than Kevin does. +2 if you want to beat his setup in the future.
I agree, that's not possible.
Awesome.
You don't want to do that, you
Um,
don't want to torture yourself.
Awesome. I think this was a really fun AMA, but like we do have 2 minutes left, but like I always want to be cognizant of everybody's time and not hold people here and make sure that I see somebody wishes that this could be a 3-hour AMA. Believe me, I could talk for
Wow.
that long, but nobody wants to hear that.
We believe-
But the point being here is that this is what we want. We want to strive for a fun AMA, a helpful AMA. We want feedback so that we can present in a better way to you, present maybe better information. What do people want to hear? What do they feel like that? I know this is a silly question. Tell us what you don't know. What would you like to know? Put that in the channel. Be it the LiveX channel or just a general chat, because we want to make this the best product for you, the most kick-ass user experience. I know Cryptonaut Cody, he's working on the wallet, which is going to be amazing. Kevin, with his 18 screens and double mouse setup, is coding like an AI. And Chief and Spark are going to be heading on the L1X World Tour. But you listening right now, you listening on the recording, tell us what we can do better for you. But that being said, thanks to everybody for being here tonight. We're going to be back here next week. We are experimenting with different formats. If you have ideas, throw them in the channel so that we know, what you want to hear. Different formats. But that being said, we will see you next week for season 1 episode of LiveX. So thank you to everybody for showing up. Kevin, rest your fingers a little bit, rest your eyes. Chief and Spark, safe
Will do.
travels. We know you guys are going to slay it out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
See
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everyone.